Hello and welcome to my garden. This is the first of the Tongues in Trees newsletters to go on YouTube. I've decided to move from Substack to YouTube for the Tongues in Trees newsletter because it gives you another way to view images of wonderful gardens and news from around the planet. So join me every Friday at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for good news, plant profiles, permaculture tips and all sorts of other stuff. Let's get started with issue number 19. Now, one of the advantages of being on YouTube is that if you only want to watch certain sections of this clip, you can. Down in the description you'll find time codes and links to the chapters so that you can just watch the parts that you're interested in. But I hope you'll watch the lot. In good news this week, the ecosystem may be working to help save our coral reefs. It's no secret that global warming is causing our ocean temperature to rise. Rising temperatures are leading to increasing coral bleaching. The concern is that even when the water temperature drops due to seasonal changes, populations are struggling to recover in some areas. A research team in the Maldives has discovered that spinner dolphins, which spend time in lagoons, are fertilizing bleached coral with their poo. This nitrogen-rich waste is giving algal populations the fuel they need to re-inhabit the bleached coral and bring back the vibrant colors that divers and snorkelers love. This is great news for nature. With recognition of this part of a complex ecosystem, we improve our understanding. And if we improve our understanding, we can find ways to combat this biodiversity crisis. If you'd like to know more, check the description for links. This week, I'm profiling the plant that produces this gorgeous bloom all year round, in the right conditions, of course. It's endemic to South America, where the fruits are harvested as bush food and the roots as a morphine-like medicine. In some parts of the world, it has escaped gardens and become naturalized. It prefers a semi-shaded position in moist, well-drained light soils, but is very hardy once established. The vines can grow up to 15 meters long, so it needs a reasonable amount of growing room in a garden. Apparently, it will fruit and flower more abundantly in poor soils. It can be propagated from seed with germination rates improved by planting the seeds still coated in pulp, which helps break down the protective coat. It can also be propagated using softwood cuttings of new shoots. It offers plenty of ecosystem services, not the least of which is in its spectacular blooms, which contain an abundance of nectar that the birds just love. This week's permaculture tip is produce no waste. We're back to principle number 6. Now, as I've said before, permaculture isn't just about the garden. Permaculture is about a way of living that reduces waste and allows us to live closer to nature. In this tip, I want to get out of the garden and into the kitchen, where our storage can produce a lot of waste. These days, I can't believe how much packaging waste I generate when I buy things from the shops. So I do my best to only buy packaging that can be reused. This could be buying something in a glass jar that I can wash and reuse, or even a plastic container that I can wash and reuse. And no, your pantry doesn't look as pretty with all those matching Tupperware containers, but it stops you using landfill and generating recycling that uses more energy. So rather than buying things and throwing away the packaging, do your best to find products that are already contained in packaging that you can reuse, and thus you are reducing your waste and getting closer to that goal of producing no waste. Because after all, who knows if we really can ever reach that goal. This week's wonder, as always, hit me by surprise. And one of the things I love about the places that I garden is that I often have a place to rehabilitate. And in this case, I'm rehabilitating a section of remnant rainforest. Part of that rehabilitation is, of course, identifying what's there, and getting rid of things that are invasive to allow the natives to come back. It's a frustrating task at times because there are quite often quite vigorous invasive plants that are difficult to remove. But this morning I was thrilled to see some berries on a plant, because oftentimes I can't get an identification until there's flowers or fruit. Here I was expecting to find another invasive plant because it's a Dracaena, and my knowledge of Dracaenas is as an indoor plant, and I just assumed they were all exotic. But I discovered that this beauty is native, which is really wonderful. Now I don't have to remove it from my garden. Well, the Frog ID team at the Australian Museum has done it again. They have had some great success with their Frog ID app that encourages citizen scientists to input data about frogs all around Australia. And now they've taken it a step further. Now they have produced a frog atlas which can be used by scientists all over the world. Everything that's put into the app by citizen scientists is verified by experts, making the data very reliable. With the app, they've already managed to redefine the boundaries of known frog species, and they've discovered a couple more. It's great work by the Frog ID team, and it's a wonderful example of how citizen scientists can get out there, enjoy nature, and contribute to data that will help save the world's species. Each week, as a part of the Tongues in Trees newsletter, I include a free reading link to one of my stories behind the paywall on Medium. This week is my piece on disruptive technologies. But if you'd rather watch than read, or even if you just want to listen, then why not pop over to the Tongues in Trees YouTube site? I'll pop the link just there. Thanks for joining me for the first Tongues in Trees newsletter on YouTube. Please join me again next week, Friday, 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you like and subscribe and click that bell so that you're notified as soon as it's there.